in this year of the rabbit. Also, warm welcome to our P1 parents. Many of you will be joining us for very first time. Your children joined this very big family. And I hope that today's session with you, be it through my talk as well as the year heads and then the form teachers, will give you a better idea as well as background to how your children have been transiting into a primary school. And last point is about while we do not have a separate Q&A segment because of time constraints today, what we'll be doing is take the opportunity, type in some of your queries. If you have some queries during this segment, we will try our best to get back to you using the Q&A function. And if there are some other remaining queries that we cannot finish by the end of these 30 minutes, we will also get back to you probably via email or via a phone call as well. Okay. Subsequently, when we have our respective level as well as the form teacher briefings, you can also use the opportunity to pose some of these questions, especially if it is more relevant to the level as well as to the class. Okay. All right. Now, let me begin. So a few things that I'll be covering today. I think just wanted to start off today's sharing also to do a very quick recap of some of the key moments in 2022 so that we can also see for ourselves through some pictures, through some meaningful activities that we have had for the year, and so that to propel us into 2023. So second thing is about the school direction, what I've shared with all staff as well as your children, as well as the team. I think to guide us in terms of the school direction is also our national direction. I'll mention a bit of this during the second segment. The third segment, I will cover a little bit about the key school programs. And when we look at the school programs that we have, in order to deliver a very holistic education experience for our children, we look at generally 5 different aspects: moral, social, intellectual, aesthetic, as well as physical. And the last bit is how do we partner parents in order to grow our children? And I mean, for lack of a better term, at this point in time, but I do think that it's quite nice to call them the young admirals, admirals of our school. Okay, so these are the 4 main things that we'll be touching on today. So a quick recap of our key moments in 2022. I think last year was really a very special year for all of us. We celebrated our 25th anniversary, and it is a really key milestone for us in our Admiralty Primary School ADPS journey. And also I'd like to take this opportunity to thank my predecessor, Mr. Pick, who brought us through this 25th year. It was a very eventful year, and taking over from, I think, the past 4 principals and the kind of journey that they have brought our school through, the kind of foundations that they have laid for this school. The second thing is that there was a very, very strong focus when we came to quality teaching and learning practices in the school. Just a couple of pictures to show the kind of activities that our children go through. The youngest being our P1s who come in after their preschool experience. What do they do when they are in the classroom? Some of the activities that they do, some of the new programs that they will be going through. And the whole idea is the educational journey is meant to bring about this joy of learning in our children. Without this joy, I don't think that our children will have that focus and understand what they are learning when they're going through the classroom. Thirdly, I think we have really been achieving holistically. So just to give some examples, and this list is actually non-exhaustive. I'll cover some things which are academic related. So in terms of academic outcomes, PSLE, we also have our direct school admission, as well as CCAs. These are just some things that we have done as a school that we have achieved holistically. If we look at PSLE, I think there was a question in one of the, when we asked for parents' questions through PG. I think there was this question about PSLE, what were our results for the past few years? Just very, very proud to actually announce that we have done very well last year, despite being affected by the pandemic. I think it has been a difficult 3 years for our children, for our teachers as well. But we've managed to maintain a high percentage of students eligible for Express. So you can see a 73%. And also something for us to take note of, I think we have had the highest number of students admitted to secondary schools via the direct school admissions, 33 in total. If I could just show very broadly what our achievements have been like from 2018 all the way until last year, we have maintained high averages of children qualifying for the express stream. And when you see here express with the option band, so express/NA, we have about 73% for the past 2 years, 2021 as well as 2022. These are achievements that I think we are proud of. But more important than just these academic results is really what was the process that led to these results. And we are constantly reviewing our T&L practices, our teaching and learning practices. And we are confident that it is the teaching and learning that is going on in classroom that is allowing our children to achieve these kinds of outcomes. So it really isn't about just results for results' sake. Okay. Now, the next one is about direct school admission. Just to give you a very quick overview of the results that we have had when it comes to direct school admission through the years. Last year, we had a bumper crop of students who were able to enter their secondary schools, their choice secondary schools, through DSA, even before the PSLE took place at the end of the year. 33 entered their secondary schools, and actually more students would have entered if not for their choices. I think they did qualify for the secondary schools, but they chose not to use that DSA option in the end. So if you make a comparison in the past few years, it has been a really steady increase in the number of students who qualify through DSA. This can probably be attributed to a few reasons. One of it, I think we'd like to thank parents for sitting down with your children to make informed school choices. You know what your children's preferences are, their inclinations, as well as their strengths. And I think based on the CCAs that they have been allocated in the past few years, all these things, together with our educational career guidance, have given children a very good idea about what could be their strengths, what are the areas for development, how do we continue to grow that kind of interest in certain aspects. So be it maybe they are talented in the sports, or is it the arts, as well as the leadership aspects. I think they are thinking about these a lot more as compared to in the past. When we look at the list of schools that have taken our children through the years through DSA, I think just last year, we are looking at these are the 3 schools, IP schools that took in 2 students each. We have River Valley High School, National Junior College, because National Junior College is a 6-year IP school, integrated program school. And we have NUS High School of Math and Science. And this is a very quick list of all the other schools that accepted our students, and they have qualified for these schools after the rounds of the selection as well as the interview, DSA interview. So I think we have, you see 1 to 2 from each school except for Evergreen Secondary. Evergreen Secondary is one of the secondary schools around in this Woodlands area, one of our cluster schools as well. We do partner this school quite often for different activities, and these are all good schools, be it in the Woodlands area or further from the Woodlands area. And what we do like is how students have made very informed school choices based on their preferences for the school. Okay. Now, this third thing about achieving holistically is about our CCAs. So we have a total of 19 CCAs in our school. It's not a small number. And it's always a constant juggle in terms of how many CCAs do we wish to have as a school to make sure that the number of children who are in each CCA is a sizable number. When we have a sizable number, that is when children can collaborate, they can work with one another. So if you look at clubs and societies, we do have a good range of CCAs across the different categories, clubs and societies, performing arts, sports, as well as uniform group. Okay. And if I were to show you just some pictures of the events that took place just last year, we have different platforms for our children to pick up new skills, to hone their existing ones, and also develop values and dispositions. So if you look at these pictures, I think we are really very, very proud of our students being able to apply themselves at these different platforms. It's never easy for them to take part in competitions, to take part in exhibitions, with all eyes glued on them to see whether or not they are performing to the best of their ability. And I think we are really very proud of our children for putting in that kind of effort. So they showcase their talents, and I think beyond that is really showcasing the kind of dedication and the effort that they've put in. Different platforms include your youth festival, you have your national school games as well. And then last year we had 25th anniversary. When we have events like Chinese New Year celebrations earlier this year, as well as a Teachers' Day, Children's Day, I think these are platforms that we also make use of to allow our children to show the rest of the school the kinds of talents and the kinds of ability that they have. And towards the end of the year, for parents who have been with us for a few years, really, you will realize we do have something which is quite unique. We call this end of year event a celebration of learning. So the picture that you see on the left is a class trying to recite and trying to do a bit, to dramatize it a little bit, to show the parents and to show the rest of the children in the level some learning that they had when they were doing this text, which was on the Gruffalo. And you can see the way that they went in to perform with such enthusiasm, with such dynamism, and that really makes us enjoy the entire performance. Okay, and on the right hand side is a microsite that we have, where the children put up some of their best pieces that they are very, very proud of. And you can see that for this is on English language, the English language subject. Individual students put up their pieces that they're very proud of. They did a simple reflection, but that also tells us what they have learned for the year. So this celebration of learning event that takes place at the end of the year allows us to really reflect on the whole year, how the whole year of learning have taken place, and what has gone through in terms of a children's educational journey. Okay, now allow me to just mention a little bit about the school direction and theme. But before I talk about the school aspect, I think it's important that we take a look at what has happened nationally. Because by knowing what is happening nationally, then we also can understand that as a school, what do we stand for? How do we ensure that our children remain relevant? I think if you look at this article, Straits Times article that came out at the start of January, Minister for Education, Minister Chan, mentioned about 5 key areas that we really need to focus on as an education system. So based on these 5 key areas, I thought I wanted to share with everyone what I felt could be these shifts that we are looking at, be it as a school or as an entire system. The first one is when he said to customize learning and close learning gaps as early as possible. We are really looking at that shift from a very cookie cutter model of education, where we all sit in the classroom, listen to the teacher teach, go through the same exactly same educational experience. And we are shifting it towards something which is a lot more flexible. And it goes to what your child strengths as well as areas for growth are. So that it's learner-centric and it can be customized. The second point is, I think it requires a very, very big mindset shift. We are shifting beyond just this 15 years of educational experience to the next 50 years. So when we talk about next 50 years, it actually affects all of us, including myself, including my staff, right? Because we take learning beyond just these 15 years, which is from your primary one all the way until your junior college, ITE, as well as polytechnic, these few years of education. So what are these boundaries and borders of education? I think things are graying out. It's becoming a lot blurrer. So we are shifting from this idea that education must be school-bound, it must be time-bound, and we're going towards a lifelong learning. Focus on acquiring skills, competencies, and dispositions along the way. So it shouldn't stop. Okay, thirdly, he did mention this thing about stronger academia as well as industry linkages. To a primary school, I think when we talk about industry linkages, it may not seem as immediately relevant. You may be thinking that this is much further down the road. My children are still younger. But I think the whole idea here is that we are not going to fixate ourselves on just what are they learning in primary school, what is the knowledge and what's the skills they need. It's not fixed. We need to keep updating ourselves to make sure that we are relevant. And there are a lot of real world applications. So when we talk about things like AI, when we talk about things like using technology, right? These are areas where your children need to keep themselves relevant with the support and with the facilitation by our teachers. Our teachers need to keep themselves relevant. Fourthly, I think it's the whole idea that we are involving the whole of society. In the past, we may think about education as being the business of just schools, of just the teachers. And then we very narrowly think about success as being just PSLE results. What schools do they go to? And then that would be a definition of whether they have succeeded in life. But I think, and I think that you all will agree with me that it goes a lot broader than this nowadays. Okay, the whole idea is that we are broadening our definition of success. We need, in order to do this, we need to involve all the stakeholders in our children's education. Yourselves as parents, as well as stakeholders beyond the community partners. And in fact, we do partner our community quite often to ensure that we bring learning experiences out of the school. We partner them so that we can do things that as a school alone, we won't be able to offer. Sometimes we partner the community to say that do service learning kind of experiences. You have heard of values in action. Maybe there are community partners out there that can actually teach us certain things about values that in school, just looking at the textbooks is not sufficient, right? Going out there to apply themselves, to speak to other people in the community. This is something that we have to do more of. And the last focus area, that key area of focus that Minister Chan mentioned, is about investing in our teaching fraternity. So something that I have been reiterating to all my colleagues, that I think in didactic teaching, that kind of very frontal teaching all the time, teaching to the test, is a thing of the past. It will not be able to help our children grow in a direction that we want to. And the whole idea about remaining relevant, I think this is really something that we cannot afford to continue doing in this manner. Right? So teachers being seen as facilitators of discovery and learning. You can imagine that rather than just telling our students how to learn, what to learn, if we are able to teach them how to learn, and they can go out for themselves and discover and have such conversations, not just with teachers, but at home. If they bring to you certain learning that they have discovered, and you can see the excitement, I think we have done a good job. And that is what we need to really be focusing on. So other areas like blended learning, providing social and emotional support for our children. Okay. So I think then this brings me to talk a little bit about our school vision that was raised last year in 2022. Mr. Pig had worked with the entire school, with all the students, to unleash, I'll really say use this word, unleash this school vision, and hoping that we can, in the years ahead, get to this potential that we want all of us to get to. That is the idea of inspiring and empathetic leaders with a strong global outlook. This is a very, very strong vision. And I think that it's not an easy vision for all of us to try and attain, but it is definitely one which is worthy for us to actually be pouring our efforts into. Of course, there's that question, with this vision, what are the steps that we need to take to achieve this? At the start of this year, when I had my first session with all the children, the P1s to P6s in the school hall, we did this school team, that we released this school team and announced it to the whole school. This was a co-created by myself together with my teachers, and I think all of us are rather proud of the way that this has come about, because the focus is something that we think is noteworthy. First thing is about the idea of growing together. I think we want all our children to grow together and to work towards the values of gratitude, courage, and excellence. We have identified these as, I think, strengths of Admiralty Primary School. We are proud of that, but we think that these values will be able to bring us further. So the idea of growing together is, it is a journey. We are not alone. No one can afford to be alone if they think that they can just go alone on this entire journey and get to where they want to be. I don't think that it's possible. So we do want all our children to think beyond themselves. By helping their friends, their classmates, and schoolmates, I think they are actually able to be in a better position. And the whole idea is that together we can achieve more. Okay, the idea about gratitude. I think that we want all our children to be thankful for what they have, not just to focus on what they do not have. And we have much to be thankful for. So constantly reiterate some of these principles back at home. And we want our children to look towards the future. Courage. I think it's the idea of having a very strong heart, courage to try new things. Don't just go with what you think is the thing that you are good at, but try new things all the time. And we want our children to have the moral courage to stand up for their friends as well as classmates. And this idea about resilience, courage is not to avoid falling down. It's to know when to pick yourselves up when you fall down. Because at some point in time, they will definitely fall down. They will definitely taste some failure, but it's okay. How do you pick yourselves up? And lastly, excellence. I think ADPS is also building its reputation for being one of pursuit of excellence. It's about giving your best in everything you do. And I do want to clarify, excellence is not perfection. Let's not expect our children to give perfect work. It's not about scoring full marks all the time. I don't think that is what we are looking at. But we are looking at how we can become better at what we do all the time. It's a disposition rather than an end product. And how we help our children do this, I think it would be noteworthy if we can celebrate the small wins. These are all building blocks to achieving that kind of success we want. So dream big, start small. And this is what we've been telling our children. Even the P1s, they are young, but they can always start small and have big dreams. So some key school programs that I think especially for our P1 parents, if you are new to our school, we have two very key programs, which are our ALP and our LLP, Applied Learning Program, and our Learning for Life program that all schools in Singapore would have. Our ALP is on design thinking. And through design thinking, what we can do is we help to develop our children's 21st century competencies, things like critical thinking, communication skills, collaboration skills. And design thinking actually helps us to inculcate empathy in our students. And it's this idea that it's not just thinking about things, but how do we take action for positive impact? So this is just an example of the whole process of ALP that our children go through. And if you look at these pictures, I think that will already give us quite a lot of confidence in what our children can produce. These are pieces of work, I think, with guidance from the teachers as facilitators, our children are more than capable of doing this. And they are doing prototypes, testing their prototypes. In this case, they're doing something with regard to food security. So food security seems like a very big topic that we are tackling at a national level, but our children are more than capable of looking at this. Okay. Learning for Life program, we do make use of these two characters, Totty and Hoppy, a rabbit as well as a turtle, to bring out some of these values in relation to performance character. And what is performance character? I think essentially is wanting to build in our children the idea of a growth mindset, not fixed mindset. So I think I would like to use also this chance to appeal to parents that when we're talking about growth mindset, how we use our language with our children is very important. Is the idea of not yet, right? Very often, I think sometimes our children will come back to us say that, they feel that they're very bad at basketball, for example. I can't do this, I can't do that. And how do we impress upon them that it's not yet? And what do you need to do to build that kind of confidence, to build those skills? Same thing can apply to the academics. If your children are actually feeling that, I feel very down and demoralized, I don't know how to do my mathematics. It's also about the idea and language of not yet. And I think through performance character, we are fostering a pursuit as well as ethic of excellence. Okay, so this inculcation of values like perseverance, effort. These are very important values if we want to achieve good outcomes. So a couple of more key school programs. This one is on learning with technology. I think some of the key skills that we built through learning with technology, things like collaboration, very, very deep conceptual understanding. So this picture that you see at the bottom is in mathematics. You're using concrete as well as online manipulatives, different forms. But then through different forms and the application, children will have a deeper understanding of the concepts. Growing self-directed learners, as well as deep mastery in the subjects through purposeful use of technology. Okay, play at lunch. I think it's this part where I'll talk a little bit about some of our physical programs as well as aesthetic programs. Play at lunch is not just about play. I think it's purposeful. It's the whole idea of staying active. An active and healthy body to lead to an active mind as well. And we have got a slogan for our physical education, which is PE for life. We don't want to just teach our students about skills, but then the whole idea that PE, when they think about it, about the values of it, and why is it that they want to learn PE is for life, is to lead a very healthy lifestyle. And these couple of pictures is on Admiralty's Got Talent. It's a program and a very good platform where you see some of our children really come alive. Some of those hidden talents that we have never thought that our children might have. And you make use of this platform to showcase their passion, dedication, hard work. Okay, a last couple of slides I wanted to just mention, but these are very important points. I think our partnership is one of great importance. When we want our children to grow up holistically, we need to think about this whole ecosystem of support. So a few things I think I just wanted to reiterate. First one, I think work closely between the school as well as home, so that we can better understand where our children's strengths are, the areas for growth, affirm our children, and to also let us know what are some of your concerns that you have of your children at home, so that we can address them in school as well. So sometimes you will hear that saying that, you know, your children may not listen to parents as much, but they always say, oh, the teacher said this, teacher said that. And they do have that respect for our teachers. That's a great thing. So sometimes you can make use of that. You know, share your concerns with our teachers so that our teachers can also talk to our children in school. There is a mutual reinforcement of the right habits and routines, I think both in school and at home. This idea of wanting to start every day right and with the right values. I'd like to also emphasize, I think punctuality is a very important value. Having our children to read very critically and widely. So just to emphasize, I think Monday to Wednesdays is English reading, Thursdays to Fridays is mother tongue language. And I think in order to role model that, I would also like to appeal to all parents. I think can cultivate the habit of reading both in school and at home. Provide this very print-rich environment. We role model reading behaviors. And I think this is something that I'll also explore with my teachers in the days ahead. How do we role model such behaviors in school as well? So that at home and in school, our students look up to all of us because of adults role modeling this behavior. A couple more administrative ones, but I think it's really quite crucial for us. I think sometimes we have important announcements from school and MOE that send via PG. Do turn on your notifications to be kept updated. Okay. Lastly is about joining our Admiralty Primary School PSG. This is a good platform for you to contribute, make a difference to our children's educational experience. At the same time, you can probably also, through participation in PSG, know more about what your children are actually experiencing in school. So I think it's a win-win situation. If you're interested, please feel free to contact our PSG chairperson, Madam Michelle Yap, or Madam Jana, who is our KP in charge of partnerships. And these are the contacts that you can. So I'd like to pause here for a short while, let our parents take down these contacts. Okay. Just one last slide to show everyone. I know that we may not be able to cover everything that you have. Maybe you have a lot of queries in mind at this point in time. At Admiralty, what we are doing is we are actually lining up a whole series of town halls with different focus areas throughout the entire year. You may realize that this is actually something unique to our school compared to other schools as well, because we want to give that kind of airtime and to clarify certain topics throughout the entire year. To be confirmed, the timing wise, we are parking it as about 4:30 to 5:30 in the late afternoons on these dates. Once we have confirmed the schedule as well as the topics, we will keep everyone updated via Parents Gateway. The first one that will be coming up will be with regard to cyber wellness. All right. So I think next we will be having our form teacher or year head briefings, and we will be going into the different breakouts, right? So I think the details have also been given to the parents, which are the Zoom rooms that you all have to go to. With that, I would like to thank everyone for your time. Thank you very much. For P5 and P6 parents, you can stay on in this chat, because then we will be making use of this exact same chat to do the year head briefing.
Good afternoon, parents. Okay, I think in case you're wondering what's happening right now, we'll have the P5 and P6 year-head segment, which will concern all the P5 and P6 parents. Whereas for parents from the P1 to the P4s, this will be the time for you to meet up with the form teachers. I believe that the form teachers have already disseminated their Zoom ID to you. So do join that Zoom ID to meet up with the form teachers. For P5 and P6 parents, do stay behind because this will be the Zoom ID for all the year-head talks. So we will start off with the P5 and the P6 year-head talk, followed by the P1 and P2s. Then lastly will be the P3 and P4 year-head talk. Right, so I'll probably give 1 more minute for the movement to settle down, and then we will start in a minute's time. All right, I see the numbers are actually dwindling down and stabilizing. So I think those parents who needs to go off to meet the form teachers has already left. So with that, we will start off the P5 and P6 year-head segment. Myself, Mr. Andrew Yeo, and together with me, I have Mr. Lim Yu Bing. We are the year-heads for the P5 and the P6 respective levels. Right, right down at the bottom of the screen, you can see our email for the contacts. So in any case, if you have any issues or inquiries, do come to us and you can contact us through the email shown below. So I'll pause here for a quick minute for you to take down our contact details. Okay, so let me start off this segment with some housekeeping first. So this segment will take about approximately 30 minutes. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank all our parents here for submitting your questions. We have actually sent out a questionnaire to get parents to for us to address some of the concerns that you guys have. And we will also use these questions to shape our sharing today. So below you can see just some examples of the questions that were asked by our parents for today's segment. Okay, so we will incorporate them and you will see that this sharing today, how we will address all these issues in today's sharing. So I believe just now our principal, Mr. Chen, has already shared our school's PSLE result in 2022. And some of you might already be wondering, like how is it that Admiralty is able to do that? Is it because we are giving a lot of homework or are we having a lot of extra lessons? So what is the secret formula that Admiralty Primary is using, right? And I think our principal, Mr. Chen, did share our approach, which is to inculcate the joy of learning. Not so much of drill and practice, not getting the students to do papers after papers and papers, but really to get them to understand why they are learning certain things and get them to enjoy the process of learning itself. And this is actually not something new. In fact, if I bring you back to 2015, this was actually been announced since 2015 by our ex-Minister of Education, Mr. Heng Swee Keat. And I just want to quickly point out some of the things that he mentioned in this article. It's really about us moving away from being too infatuated with examinations and grades and moving towards acquiring deep skills instead. And he also did warn us that if we remain stagnant, right, you will see that the future that our students will be facing, the stress level is going to climb and it's really going to affect our students. And in the next slide, you can see over here, in fact, this is what MOE has actually collated for our school. And it correlates to what the Minister Heng has mentioned. And you can see over here, this is based on our P6 cohort last year. Although it is not a true reflection of our P6 cohort this year, but we do see some consistency and some similarities between the cohorts. And in this slide over here, you can see that our students are facing with a lot of different stresses. And the three main stresses that is affecting them the most is expectations from others, expectations from themselves, and also what the future entails. And the figure that you see below, these are percentage of students who are so stressed to the extent that they are unable to cope with it. So you see that although the number may be small, but this is actually a very alarming number, because these are the students who are very stressed over the situation, and that they find that there's no way of them coping and managing the situation that they are in. Okay, so why are we sharing this? Is because we want to tie in with what the minister has said. And based on all this data, you can see that over the years, MOE has actually made certain shifts, right? Ever since 2018, with the removal of the ranking of secondary school, and then all the way down to full subject-based learning in 2024. We will not go through in details with all this, but the gist of this is what we're trying to say is that as a whole system, we are actually taking steps to move away from being too infatuated or the overemphasis of academic grades, and to get students to inculcate the joy of learning in our students. And this is not a journey that we can do alone. So we will initially need the partnership of our parents, and we need the parents to be on board to move the whole society as a whole. Okay. Then also to support what I just mentioned, based on 2021's data, right, that was the first year that we implemented the AL system. And we do also note that there are no schools out there, all right, that has a cut-off point of AL 4 and 5, which is almost perfect or perfect score for the PSLE. So this move itself is the signal or the message that we are trying to send out is that we do not need students or parents to chase after the very last score for PSLE. Because in the past, when we used to have the T-score, students are comparing, are you a 221, 222, or 223? So that one mark itself does draw a line between students. But with this new system itself, we actually cluster students together, and there's no need for us to make that kind of comparisons anymore. So this broadens the school choices that students can have, and also the different bandwidth of the students can explore. So with all that, I would like to tie in one of the very famous quote by one of the famous psychologists. Are we preparing our child for the path and not the path for the child? So instead of getting our students to really just drill and practice, getting to practice papers after papers, instead of doing that, I think we need to change our mindset as well as how we are going to educate our students. And I also like to take this opportunity to quickly address one of the questions that was raised by the parents before today's segment on how to prepare our students for DSA. I'm just using this because it's a very good example based on this quote over here. So instead of us preparing the child for the DSA interview, I think our approach here is not to get the students to pick the right words to say at the interview itself, but over the course of the 6 years that they have with us at the primary school level, what are the oracy skills that they are developing? How confident are they when it comes to speaking? So all this will actually enhance their chances during the interview itself. So we should not see things in isolation, but rather we see things very holistically. What are the different programs that the school have? How each of them can develop our students to become more prepared for these DSA interviews. Yeah. So that was what as a nation what we are doing, and then what is Admiralty doing to align ourselves to the national posture. I think our principal, Mr. Chen, did bring about this thing called DSA earlier on, and that we are actually pushing more students to do DSA application. And we did see that the numbers are increasing over the years. And this is actually backed by our school's education and career guidance, ECG in short. And what we are doing here is really to get students to impart different things to students, not just getting them to develop their talents and strengths, but also to equip them with skill sets. For example, decision-making skills. Because we do know that for this year PSLE, or rather since the new AL system, we have more students cluttered in the same AL score. And that will also mean that there will be many layers of tiebreakers because many students are getting that score, and schools will have to choose from that cluster of students. And one way for secondary school to filter or to prioritize who is going in is actually by the secondary school choice that our parents or students are going to make. So that is one of the tiebreakers that the students or the secondary school side will use. And therefore, it is very important for our students and also for our parents to make very informed decision when they list down the secondary school choice in the order of 1 all the way to 6. And also, lastly, you will see with the removal of the mid-year exam, I believe last year when the news was announced, all right, our school still did the stand of having the mid-year exam. But I think this year onwards, we have officially removed it. And later on, you will see in the assessment weighting how we are going to redistribute the weightings to the other different terms. Okay. Just one thing to point out, I understand that this segment is for the P5 and the P6 parents, but I hope the P5 parents do not see things in isolation as well, that we are just addressing things that is pertaining to the P6 parents. That is actually not the case, because this ECG or this DSA journey, actually we need to start planning way ahead. In fact, our school, we are actually doing it starting in small little bite sizes down to the P1 levels. And that is how we slowly build them up all the way to the end of the journey at the end of P6s. Okay, so with the removal of the mid-year exam, I believe this whole discussion is also shaped by one of the parent questions. So I think at the bottom, you can see that a parent asked this question as to how the school is actually gonna track our students' progress with the removal of the mid-year exam. I think first and foremost, I would like to address that with the removal of the mid-year exam, it actually frees up a lot of time and space for us to discover and explore many new areas. For example, without the mid-year exam, right, teachers will have more time to design lessons to get students to be more engaged. Instead of just sitting down in the classroom doing papers or just listening to the teacher talk, they can go out to conduct experiments. And all these experiences will actually deepen their learning instead of just memorizing. I think I'll just use one example. Instead of memorizing vertically opposite angles, they are always equal. So instead of getting the students to just memorize that, why not get students to go and conduct experiments, cut out different angles and find out for themselves why and how is it that they are really equal, right? So this will actually increase the students' interest, and this will actually deepen their learning. So in the next two slides, you will see the assessment weighting. We will show the P5 weighting first, then followed by the P6s. So you can see over here, there is no more column for the mid-year examination. That is also in line with the national posture and how each of this segment will actually build up. And one thing I want to address, or rather to highlight to parents, is the LWT that we have for mathematics and also for the journal for science. So column number row number 2 and row number 3. This is an all year round assessment. It's not just for term 1 itself, but this is a journey all the way from the start of the year till the end of the year. So although it's parked in term 1 column, that is because we want to emphasize that it's going to start in term 1 and it's going to last all the way till term 4 itself. Okay, I'm just going to pause here for a while longer for our parents to take note of this. In the event that if you miss out any information, do not worry, because this whole video will actually be parked in our school website as well after today's sharing. Okay, I'll move on to the P6 assessment weighting. Right, similarly, you will see that there's no mid-year exams anymore, and we have actually redistributed the components so that the weightage is not too heavily dependent on just the prelim results or also the mid-year results. And likewise, we have LWT, Learning with Technology, for mathematics, and it is also going to start at the beginning of the year till the end of the year. Okay, moving on. Okay, so that was the assessment and how our school is actually trying, aligning ourselves to the national posture and also trying to move away from the overemphasis of academics grades. And one of our approach over here is also in line with the national posture is to push for more students doing DSA. As you can see in this newspaper article in 2021, all right, 1 in every 4 students are actually applying for DSA. Just gonna show you some statistics. I think since 2018 until now, we can see that there is a significant change or significant increase in the number of applications and applicants since 2018 till now. All right, and this is really the results of our students making very informed decisions, getting them to understand themselves better, and using their own talents instead of just their PSLE score to secure their future in the secondary school. And I also like to take this chance to emphasize to the parents that actually this whole exercise doesn't cost any money. I believe that in the past, in 2018, right, the application fee actually cost some admin fee, right? But moving forward since 2019, there's actually no more application fee. So actually there's nothing to lose over here. Yeah, I think some of us, when you apply for HDB BTO, you still need to pay $10 for the application. And for myself, I actually applied 9 times and I didn't get any of those. So I spent $90 with no outcomes at all. But in this case, you can actually apply and there's nothing for you to lose in this case. Yeah. And then for our students, when you apply through DSA, I've actually just taken the liberty to list out all the different talent areas that your students can apply to the schools using the different talent areas you see over here. And I think just now I did briefly mention that the order of school does matter, and we are actually coaching our students to make informed decision when they finish their PSLE and when it comes to Sec 1 posting. So when it comes to Sec 1 posting, like I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of students clustered in the same AL band, because last time we have a range from all the way from the lowest all the way to the highest, and we have about 200 over different scores for PSLE last year using the T-score system. But now with the new AL system, we only have about 24 different groups of students. And hence schools will actually find it very difficult for them to rank the students to enter their schools. So of course, when there's such a tiebreaker, right, citizenship will actually be the first that they will factor in. And thereafter, the choice of school does matters in order for our students to enter the school. So we do have 6 choices, 1 all the way to 6. And whether we put our dream school as a top choice or at the bottom of the third choice, it does affect our chances of us getting into those schools. Okay, so very briefly, I will show the different AL scores and the different bands that the students will fall under when they sit for PSLE this year. At the table on the top, you will see the score for the standard stream, and the table below will be for our students taking the foundation subject. Okay, for students taking the foundation subject, although the grading is different, A, B, and C, at the end of the day, it will be translated. So if the student is scoring an A grade for foundation, it will be translated to an overall AL score of 6. Likewise, for B, which is an AL score of 7, and C, AL score of 8. Okay. Over here, what you see on this screen will be the different streams that the students will go into based on their AL scores. And you can see the minimum cutoff point for Express is actually 20 score, all the way to 4. Although there's no schools out there that has an AL score of 4 to 5 as their cutoff. Okay. But although this is being shown here, I believe in 2024, right? With full subject-based banding happening in the secondary school, and they are actually gonna do away with the different streams for express, normal academic, or normal technical. But this we'll wait till we have more information, and then when we have more information regarding that, probably we'll have another town hall meeting with our parents to inform them about what are the changes that's gonna come ahead. So if you are interested to find out more about this, maybe you can write to Madam Jana or Madam Michelle to tell them that you actually want to express interest to find out more about full subject-based banding, and we'll probably have a town hall meeting for that. I believe this is the second last slide. So over here, this is actually to thank our parents for your continuous support, because for the P5 and P6 cohort, we do have 100% of parents on board PG. So I would like to applaud our parents for the effort that they've put in. And just a gentle reminder, I believe Mr. Chen did mention to turn on the notification in Parent Gateway, because I think by default, some of us, we do not receive notification because by default, it's not turned on. So if you turn it on, when the Parent Gateway announcement or a message is sent out, you will be notified with the notification. And on our end as a school, what we will do to try to help you is we will actually, every time we send out a PG message or announcement, we will always follow up with a WhatsApp broadcast. So our school will send a message through WhatsApp to alert you, to let you know that there is actually a Parent Gateway message or announcement that was sent out. But in order for you to receive this WhatsApp broadcast, you actually need to save the school's number. But so if you do not save the school's number, you will actually not receive the broadcast, right? So this is also to answer one of the questions as to why they are not receiving it. So I'm just going to pause here for a quick minute to get you to save or copy this number down, so that in the future, when there's a PG announcement, you will receive a WhatsApp notification to remind you as well. So the number is 8331-4214. I repeat myself, 8331-4214. So please save that number down. And this, I believe this is the last slide, and some other matters that I would like to share with our parents. Because I think in one of the questions, some of the parents are actually asking if there's extra classes that's happening. There is only extra classes for our P6 cohort, because they are graduating cohort and they are sitting for a milestone event. Yeah, so this is only for our P6 students. So our P5 parents, there is no structured lessons for them, only the P6 parents. And it's gonna fall on every Tuesday, and we will have this in rotation. We have English, Math, and Science in rotation. And then for Thursdays will be the mother tongue or the higher mother tongue. Then something else for the P5 parents, to entice our P5 parents as well. Our school, we do have a study room, which is in our school library from Monday to Thursday from 2:15 after school all the way to 5 p.m. So we actually encourage our students, if they need help or they need support, they can actually stay behind in the study room. We have engaged teachers to stay behind to help our students during this period of time. So this is non-compulsory, of course, and it's really depending on the students. So what we are doing here is really to get our students to be very self-directed. And if they feel that they are in need of help, then do approach us when you need time and space and guidance. And this will be the time and place for us to help address those concerns. And I believe that is the end for the P5 and P6 segment. Let's take a look at the Q&A segment and we see if there's any questions. If not, I think we have about 5 minutes left. And in that case, can I give you the 5 minutes to do the transition? So if you are meeting your form teachers, do take this time to leave this Zoom meeting to attend the Zoom meeting that is sent by the...
Sorry, is there any urgent query that any parent might have before we do the transition? Oh, okay, the PowerPoint slide, yeah. The PowerPoint slide will be posting on our school website, yeah. That one is okay. Is there any other one before we move on? Okay, anyway, if there's no query, subsequently, if you do have any concern that you have, feel free to approach Mr. Yo or myself, all right? And we'll reach out to you. Thank you so much for your attendance.
All right, so parents, you may take this time to leave this Zoom meeting to attend the form teacher segment. We will keep this Zoom meeting open because our P1 and P2 parents will come on board now to attend the P1 and P2 yearhead segment. So I will hand the time over to the P1 and P2 yearhead.
Hi, good afternoon, parents. I think we are going to wait for a few more minutes for the rest of the other P1 and P2 parents to join us. All right, so P5 and P6 parents, you can actually leave the Zoom meeting so that you can go and meet our P5 and P6 form teachers. All right. So while waiting, I hope that you will be able to enjoy some video that we have prepared for you. parents, good afternoon once again. Thank you for joining us in today's session. I hope I have most of the parents in, but I think with time, I will start. I hope you enjoy the short video clip that we have of the short time that we have with the P1s and P2s this year. Yeah. Okay, just an introduction. My name is Madam Yani. I'm the P1 and P2 year head. And with me, I also have Madam Farhana. She is the AYH, the assistant year head for the P1s. Our email addresses are actually in this page. If there's any questions or anything that you would like to raise or find out from us, do feel free to email us. All right, I will give the time now for Madam Farhana to say a few words.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, parents. It's nice to see all of you here, although it's virtually. Okay, so to start off, so there's this paragraph here. Okay, let's take a look at this. Okay, at ADP, we want to foster strong ties with all of you, our parents. So all of you are vital partners in education. So you influence your child's learning, and it is essential to provide support for your child at home. So we do not want students learning to only stop in school, but also extend it at home, right? So it's very important for us to work together and build the rapport with all our parents. Okay, so I've shared with our P1s at the start of the year, okay, on the level expectations. Okay, and it's quite simple, it's ABC. So I told them that A stands for attire. We need to ensure that students are always neat and tidy so that they are ready for school. So this will also mean wearing the correct color hair ties, hair bands, which I think is all stated in the pupil companion book. Okay, it's actually black. And, you know, having their nails cut when they come to school. So it's very important for them to, you know, be neat and tidy. Then I also noticed that some of our P1s, they are still not sure on how to tuck in their shirts. So I think it would be good, you know, if you can assist to train them at home to learn how to tuck in their shirts. In terms of B stands for behavior. So we want to ensure that our students know how to behave, doing the right thing all the time. We want them to be gracious. Again, this is part of our school values, okay? And it's also important for them to be punctual for lessons daily. I think if you have heard Mr. Chen mention earlier on about being punctual for school, okay? And last one, C. So what does C stand for? It stands for communication. We want our students to think before they speak. Okay, it is important for them to learn to be polite, you know, find out before, you know, they talk, and then before they try to accuse, you know, or speak something that is negative. Okay, so I think perhaps you can also reiterate the ABCs with your child when they are at home. Okay, and in ADP, we are very concerned and we care about our pupils. We care about every single child. So their safety is actually our priority. Okay, so thank you so much. Now I will pass the time to Madam Yani.
All right, so I will continue with the sharing. So I think for those parents who actually came in for Mr. Chen's town hall session just now, he would have introduced to you this school team for this year. And we have also informed and we have also talked about it with our P1s and P2s. I know some of us feel that, will the P1s and P2s be able to actually understand this school team? And actually they are able to verbalize that going together means it's a teamwork. They need to work together to do something, to be able to achieve certain things. Gratitude is about being thankful. We do have a day that we call Thankful Thursday, where we actually say thanks to whoever who have helped us earlier. Courage, having the strong moral courage to stand up for ourselves and also for others. And also excellent, not being the best, but always putting in the effort and trying to do what we need to do. Yeah, so you can actually find out from your child. This is an ongoing process. We are still going through the school team, and we will be doing this slowly throughout the year. So this is some of the things that I would be sharing with the parents today, some key information for our P1 and 2s, how we can partner parents, and there's this thing called our lesson focus for our P1s and 2s. So the first thing about the key information, during our, there's some questions from the parents about how can I have the assessment plans for the P1 and 2. We actually do not have any assessment plan because since 2019, there has been a removal of P1 and P2 assessment. So in P1 and P2, the children do not have any assessment at all. Okay, the reason is also because we want to stop the overemphasis on exam marks and over exams, and also to enable our young ones, the P1s and 2s, to discover their joy of learning and to ensure that they are being focused more on the learning disposition as well as the learning attitudes. And how are we giving them the grades and the marks is actually through qualitative descriptors in our report book. So in semester 1, at the end of semester 1, which is going to be around May, end of May, you will receive the assessment books, not assessment books, sorry, report books, where you will actually be given these descriptors. So for us, our assessment plan is actually to gather information about our students' learning. Okay, there are some checkpoints. I just want to emphasize that no assessment doesn't mean that there's not going to be any testing. Yeah, so sometimes your child may say, oh, mommy, today we have a class test, but it's actually just a test to a small bite-sized kind of pen and paper test to assess whether they are able to do that particular topic or that particular lesson that the teacher has done in class. So you do not have to be overly worried that, there's a test, but we have not actually studied for the test. So it's not about studying for the test, but it's about the teacher finding out what is it that the child has already learned from the lesson itself in that topic. Now, these different checkpoints, like our in-class work, our bite-sized test, will not be counted at the end of the year. So there is not going to be any overall marks that the school will send to parents at the end of the year. So you do not have to worry about any of the tests. But we will use qualitative descriptors. There are 4 bands: accomplished, competent, developing, and beginning. So these 4 qualitative descriptors will actually be used in our report book. So these are some of the things that the teachers will use in our daily interaction and observations to find out whether the child or our students are able to catch up with whatever that we're teaching, and if we need to actually teach certain things again in a different way so that we will be able to communicate to the children better in terms of the work that they have to do. So pen and paper is definitely going to be there to stay. We have our worksheets and also our topical reviews. There may be certain times where the teacher will use the class worksheet as a practice to sit for a test, where they will not be able to ask their friends, or they will not be able to ask the teachers for help. And they will be maybe even asked to sit in a single line, single row, so that we just want to dramatize how it looks like when we are sitting for exam when we are in upper primary. Performance tasks, we do have use of maths manipulatives like blocks and maybe our fraction, this and all. Journaling, we do that in English as well as in math. For integrated tasks, there are some reading and conversations, book talk, pick and talk, and show and tell. Now, for some of these tasks, some of these assignments, it may need the partnership with the parents to prepare the child when we actually have this type of assignment. Maybe they can practice at home and then come to school and then do the presentation. So for example, like our book talk, maybe the teachers will say, okay, we are going to be assigned a day to do a book talk, and go home, try and practice. So if that happens, I hope we have the cooperation and the partnership with the parents so that they can actually help to do this at home as well, to prepare them so that they can have the enough confidence to actually do it in front of their class on the day of their presentation. Not so much of gathering as much marks as you can, because there's really no marks. It's more about the the remarks from the teachers. Yeah, so it's more about the confidence that they are able to speak in front of the large group, in front of their peers, and to be able to do it well. There's actually a question about how will I know about my child's progress? No, there's no exam, there's no assessment. So how will I be able to find out how my child is doing? So even, like I said earlier, even with the removal of all the weighted assessment and weighted examination, the teachers will be continually assessing the students. Parents will also be kept informed of the child's progress through phone calls and also during our Meet the Parent session at the end of semester 1. Yeah, so this month, for the first 5 weeks or so, especially for the P1 teachers, we are actually checking in with the children, finding out more about them, and knowing how the strength and how we can actually help the children. So over time, from now until perhaps semester 1, end of semester 1, you will progressively receive some phone calls from the form teacher to keep you updated about how your child is doing. Even if the child is doing well, the teacher will actually also be following up with these phone calls. All right, so if you need to know more information or you need to find out a little bit more about your child, do feel free to contact the teachers, because I think there's already been a communication network set up by the form teachers, the subject teachers, and yourself. Yeah, so our understanding with the teachers is you can actually have these conversations to find out more about how your child is doing. Okay? At the end of the year, like what I said just now, at the end of semester 1 and semester 2, this is how the report book will look like. All right, in the report book, you will just be able to see those 4 different descriptors of how your child is doing. So for example, this child in mathematics, he is competent in all the 3 different topics, 3 different topics. Okay, so what it means when the child is competent, there will actually be a supporting holistic report to actually explain to you how he is doing, and we will also have some strategies of how you can help the child at home by the different to enrich his learning. Yeah, so even if he is doing very well, there are also things that he can do or she can do to make himself better. All right, so these are these 2 documents that will be given to you at the end of semester 1, as well as at the end of semester 2, which is end of the year. You can actually use these reports, these results, during your conversation with your subject teachers during our Meet the Parent session in May. Okay, so to answer some of your the parents' question about how can a child actually qualify for the EduSafe Awards, we do have, for P1 and 2, we do have 2 different awards. Okay, for P1s, we have the EduSafe Merit Bursary Award. P2s, we have 2 awards, which is the EduSafe Merit Bursary as well as the Good Progress Award. And to choose the children from here, it is actually by demonstrating for the students to actually demonstrate exemplary character and outstanding personal qualities. So we are actually using our learning disposition, good conduct, and if they have any shown grit in improving throughout the year. So these are some of the criteria that we are actually looking at when we award for these 2 different awards. So this can be found, our learning disposition can actually be found in our Pupils Companion book. All right, so these are actually our school core values. All right, so grit, reflectiveness, and curiosity. And using these learning dispositions, this is what the teachers will actually be using to observe the child, to do our P2 to P3 banding, as well as for our EduSafe Merit Bursary and the Good Progress Award. All right, moving on to partnering with parents. I think like what Mr. Chen and Madam Farhana have said earlier, ADP actually believe that parents and school should work together to actually develop the child holistically. It is important for us to work together so that we will be able to help the child through this partnership, we can also have an increased sense of achievement and success for all the child. So like what Mr. Chen mentioned earlier, I think when the child is not behaving in school, at home, for example, and then you can actually inform the teachers, and the teachers can also help you in how to remind your child. Because sometimes we do have parents who tell us like, Many, at home, he doesn't want to read his book. Can you please talk to him at school so that he will be doing his homework and reading his book. So when we do have some partnership like that, it will help, because the child knows that mommy and daddy, as well as my teacher in school, is talking with each other. So whatever I do in school, mommy and daddy will find out. Whatever happens at home, when I do something not very nice, maybe mommy and daddy also will inform my teacher. So as we work together like that, especially for our lower primary, I find that this type of partnership is really very helpful in helping our children holistically, not only in terms of academic, but also in how we want to shape the child to behave in a correct way. Yeah, so by doing that, I think it will definitely help our children. So I hope that we will be able to have this understanding that whatever we are doing in school, we are helping the child to do better, to improve, and we will also need the support. So whatever language or whatever things that we do, we may appeal to the parents to continue on, to follow through with whatever things that we have done. So that will be a good way to actually let the children know that I cannot behave differently in school. I cannot also behave differently at home. So it must be the same thing, because we do communicate with each other. So these are some of the things that we can actually do to partner with parents, working collaboratively with our teachers. I think communication with our form teachers and subject teachers are important. If you really do need to contact them urgently during lesson, do contact the general office, because sometimes they may not be able to answer their class dojo quite immediately. So if you do need the form teachers or the subject teachers' attention, you can actually contact the general office. But I know that some contact points have already been set up. For example, like Class Dojo, or some classes actually use WhatsApp broadcasts and so on and so forth. So you can actually use those things to communicate with our teachers. The second point about seek to clarify, I think this is also a phrase that we use with our pupils in Admiralty Primary. Seek to clarify first before doing your judgment. Yeah, so find out. You need to actually find out what is the reason, what's happening, and how is it that we can help the child. Letting your child be accountable and take charge of his or her own learning. So in our first letter to all parents during at the beginning of the year, we actually inform parents that do refrain from sending any forgotten things to the general office. I think we also want to ensure that the children face their own consequences of their actions. So for example, if they have forgotten their homework, for that day, what are the consequences of it? Perhaps they will actually have to inform their teacher, and then there are some maybe there are certain things that have been put in place that I give you a yellow card, for example, then 3 times you'll be given a red card, that kind of thing. So do let them be accountable for their learning, let them accountable for their actions, so that they can learn from their mistakes, and so that it will not happen again next time. Monitoring your child, perhaps when you are at home, there can be times where you can ask them to share their experiences when they're in school. That will be a good way for you to find out how things are in school and how they are managing and how they are coping in the different in the school. All right. Also about encouraging a love of reading. I think that's quite important. Every morning, the teachers and the year heads have been reminding all our students to have a storybook. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they should have an English book. Thursday and Friday, they should have their mother tongue book. And perhaps you could monitor what are the type of books that they read, and if they have tried to change their books maybe every week and not read the same book for the whole year, for example. Yeah. All right, I'm coming to the third one. It's called our lesson focus. Okay, our lesson focus is actually a document, all right, a notes from the different subject this document, you can actually get to know what is being taught during lessons. You can also help by using this document, that you can help by reinforcing the learning at home, so that you can ensure that your child practice regularly. Previously, when we had our assessment, we do give our parents the table of specs where what to learn during exams and so on and so forth. But I think for now we are moving away from that. So it's more about informing you what are the things that we are doing in class. So I'll just give you an example. All right, so this is a primary 1 maths lesson focus. So what are the different topics that we are learning this term is actually in this document, and what are some of the maths words that the teachers are using that you can also use at home. Yeah, so for example, like count on, all together, more than, fewer than. So these are some words that we are using, and you can actually also use the same words, so that, you know, these are the words that teachers use in school. This is what it means. It means the same when mommy or daddy is teaching me at home, so that the children will not be confused in what are certain things to do. Where to find this document is actually in our school website under level matters. Okay, so every term, we will have this lesson focus for all the subjects, English, math, and mother tongue. Okay, so the English, math, Malay, Chinese, and Tamil. So all this, you can actually find it in our school website. To add on, actually, the school website is a very good resource should you want to find information about our school. So for my P2 parents who are actually interested in the CCAs and what are some of the CCA, what are the things that the CCAs do in our school, there are actually information in our school websites to inform you about that. Okay, this is actually my last slide. So for the parent-teacher meeting, we're actually going to have it tentatively on the last 2 days of school. Of course, more details will be provided nearer to the date. All right, just want to inform everybody so that you can keep these 2 days free. As usual, we will actually send out all this information through PG, and all the booking systems are actually also through PG. So that is the reason why we have been reminding parents that PG is a very important app that you need to have, and to also ensure that you turn on the notification, because it is actually very fast. Once the teachers or the school actually send out a message or a notification to parents, you will actually get it almost immediately if you actually turn on the notification. All right, so you'll be actually up to date with all the different information that the school is sending to you. Okay. All right, so I think that's the end of what I have. Let me just check our Q&A. Okay, I think the Q&A all right. Okay, so like I said, if let's say you do have questions after this session and you do want to connect with either myself or with the teachers or even with the SLs, you can always do so by emailing us, or you can also give a phone call to the school if you need to have more information. All right. Just a reminder that all these slides, this video recording will actually be posted on our school YouTube channel. For P1 parents, if you are not aware, we do have our school YouTube channel. It would be great if you could actually subscribe to this, because I won't say all our events, but most of our events, even our commemorative events, are actually up in our school website. All right, so we do have a school channel. Do ensure that you like and subscribe to the channel. Okay. All right. So I think that's all the time that I have for you now. Okay. We will take this 4 minutes for our changeover so that you can actually log on to the Zoom of our form teacher session. Yeah. All right. Thank you, parents, for being with us today. So only P1 and P2 parents, you can actually leave to go to the form teacher session. Okay, I think I will answer one of our question live. Apart from Chinese dance enrichment, are there any other enrichment for the P1s which is more suitable for boys? I think at the moment, the enrichment that we have is in our school is actually wushu and guzheng, as well as Chinese dance. At the moment, we do not have any plans yet to open up any other enrichment. If we do, we will definitely send out notifications to the parents. We will take note of this since there's a suggestion about boys. Okay. Registration for Gucheng, I do not have the answer for that yet for Gucheng enrichment. We will definitely get back to you about this. All right. Yep. I'll take note of yes. All right, thank you, parents. I think you can move on to the next segment. All right, for the Chinese dance actual date, if you mean when is it going to start, again, I do not have that answer yet. So all this enrichment information will be sent out when we get our information ready. All right, Ken, thank you.
Mic, can you hear? All right. I hope you can all hear me. Very good afternoon to all our P3 and P4 parents. First of all, I want to take the time to thank you for. Thank you for taking the time to meet up with us. It's always very heartening to meet up with parents who really want to connect with the school. Let me go through the next what we are going to do for today. This short sharing that we have. I understand that I'm new to the most of the P3 and P4 parents because I used to be always at the P5 and P6. So this is me, Mr. Lim, talking. You can contact me through this means here. And then Madam Faisal is the year head for P3. All right. And I'm looking after the P4, P5, but it really doesn't matter if you really have any concern that is really, you felt that we need to know, whether it's primary 3, primary 4, 5, 6, or 1 or 2, you can just reach out to the year head team. We work as a team. All right. Okay, roughly, this is the agenda for today. Some of it I will not, that is covered by Mr. Chen. I will just briefly go over so that I will not repeat again. But let's start with the first one. This one is a cliche that we always hear, but I want to assure you that it's something that we take to heart. It is not just something that we mouth, but really something that we believe in. And we are all active members of this village. And every parent out there, your role and the way you partner the school is something that we really value. I mean, the children, we all know they are with us for many hours a day, but they cannot be with us the whole, we know that, but the moment they leave us and the teachers no longer have the control over them. And with the teachers also have hundreds of children, some of us at one time. So we really look forward to working with the parents on this collaboratively. Right, so, well, every parent is a supportive partner. We look upon you as a partner rather than, and of course, a partner and a stakeholder that we really need to rely on. We don't pretend to say that we know your children better than you. And so whatever input that you have, we will value. Right, so this one very quickly. When we are, what we want from parents is basically you'll be good if you can work with our teachers. I always make sure that if you have any clarification or any doubts, touch base with the teachers. I think the teachers right now should have already connected with you, whether it is through the various means of communication channels should have already been established with you. If not, you let us know. I think that we have class dojos, we have Google Classroom, we have WhatsApp group, or at the very least, they would have furnished you with the email and contact address. So this is somewhere we hope that you can use to reach out to us. Something that we have been talking about, whether it's P1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we want our children, your child to learn, to be accountable and take charge of his or her own learning. This is important because we cannot be cocooning our children all the time. We cannot be protecting them all the time. Rather, we need them to learn to be independent. So a simple 3 A's is something I thought parents and child may want to know. Attendance in school is, of course, critical and vital. If the attendance is not good, then the child will tend to miss out on quite a lot of it. And sometimes once the deficit get because they've missed too many days in school, the deficit get too big and become very overwhelming for the child. The attitude that we want to inculcate in our child, the work ethics that they have, the learning attitude that they have, this is something that we value, and we hope that parents also likewise work with us on this. And so we're talking to our children about their attitude, positive attitude to work and things like that. And assignment, of course, teachers do give work, and the work is not meant to stress out your children, but rather the work is meant to reinforce what is taught in class to help your child. All right, so completing assignment is important. Of course, if there are times whereby your child is a little bit overwhelmed, or sometimes maybe teachers our communication not too good, and certain days a lot of homework come on the same time. Well, you just let the teacher know. I'm sure we understand. All right. Right. Last part, the next few part, I think is okay. Monitoring your child, have them share their experience in school. I know you, in the midst of our busyness, this is something probably your child may be very eager to share with you, and you also get to see a little snippets of what actually they are doing in school. All right. The excessive homework and tuition work, this one is something which is beyond our control. As far as the homework given by the tutors, I meant the schoolwork we control. The school homework, we give what we think is reasonable. But sometimes we do have children coming to us that, they cannot cope because they have this, they have that, and so many tuition homework. As far as this is concerned, I leave it to you to work out with your child. But I think with the school, the support system is there. If the child is attentive in class, pay attention, do his work reasonably, I think should be all right. And we do have a study room in the library open Monday to Thursday, and we do have teachers there. And if your child needs help, well, you can just drop by, and then we can find out more, clarify his doubts with the teacher, or even with his friends if they go there to study together. All right. Well, encouraging a love for reading. I think this one has been mentioned by Mr. Chen, so I will not say too much, but I cannot. However, this is something that I always feel very strongly for. I think if our child reads a lot, it opens up a world. It is what they feed their mind. And sometimes I do have parents asking me, Mr. Lim, how do we want to get our children to improve in their languages and so on? I may not be teaching English. I'll be taking math and science most of my career, but I do know that even to learn a language, you need to listen to good spoken English. You want to be exposed to good written English. So I would maybe want to encourage you how you would let your child watch the TV. I thought Channel 5 News, I may be old-fashioned, but I thought Channel 5 News at 9 o'clock is a good base to learn English for those who want to learn English. Because when a newscaster is reporting the news, there will be a good subtitle there, and the child is exposed to good spoken English, good written English, correct grammatical English, and that's an easy way to pick up the language. At the same time, also broadens his mind, expose himself to what is really happening around the world, and not so insular. Even if they interview someone and they speak horrible English, there will be a proper subtitle there. So I think if we can switch your TV channel to the 9 o'clock news for a start, I think it will help. And in time to come, when you move on to P4, P5, P6, they sit for the PSLE oral, they have something to talk to the examiner. Okay, let's move on. So so now we can talk about P3 gifted education. First, we are talking about P3, P4 parents. P3, well, this gifted education parent program has been around for a long time, but it's actually meant to identify suitable pupils who cognitively have the high intellectual potential. They are able to handle the rigor that's expected of them. So it's not meant for the masses. But at the same time, well, it is open to all. So all P3 children you can take the screening exercise. We never know, all right? We always think that sometimes you'll be surprised our children can handle some of these questions, But please don't put undue stress on your child to perform, and certainly please don't send them for some hot housing at some tuition center to prepare for the GEP program. It's not meant like that, all right? And then if they don't do well and they lose their confidence in the subject, or worse still, have an adverse impact on the self-esteem, that's the last thing we want. But for those of you interested, these are the dates. And in time to come, of course, nearer to the date, we'll let you know with a follow-up letter. Now, P4 subject-based banding, this is important. Well, at some point, we do want to know at the end of P4, after 4 years, the foundation years, we want to put them into the next year. But by right at P5, they were supposed to take whether standard subject or higher mother tongue or even foundation subject. But I want to say that this school, since the last few years of practice, at P5, we are not very quick to offer foundation subject to our P5 student. So I'm not saying that P4, when they take the exam at the end of the year, they're going to get a free pass P5. Yes, they will go to P5. And if they don't do well, we will monitor, we will take note, but we will still offer them the standard subject. Because when they're exposed to a standard subject, really it will be beneficial. We want to give them 1 year, one extra year to try out. And if they really cannot cope, and then at the end of P5, when they are in P6, we may then offer them the foundation subject. But here at the end of P4 subject-based banding, yes, we will offer higher mother tongue, and we encourage more students to take higher mother tongue. But at the same time, for those who don't do very well, we will keep track of this and we will help them to bridge the gap so that we can continue to offer them standard subject. All right, this is something is a precursor to what I'm going to for Madam Faisal to share with you, the one-to-one computing. But prior to that, I thought that maybe, I don't know whether you've thought about it, your children, the current generation of children that we have in our school are born in a world whereby they are already born in a world where it's so digitally rich, technology is so prevalent. They are very different from my generation, or maybe some of you who are closer to my age, whereby we are born, when I grew up, there was no TV. For me, the definitely no color TV. The black and white TV is my neighbor's TV. You know, if they open the window, I peep in. That's it. And there's no internet, there's no computers, nothing. But and then, so how we learn? We learn from whatever the teacher tells us. That type of frontal teaching, and we absorb. And whatever extra we learn, we go to the library. But that's it. But now it's very different. All right. So I think our children are. They are really digital natives. They will take to technology very fast. They will learn so much faster than us. Okay, so this is the current reality. We cannot stop it. So as such, we are shifting. So education shift. These have been happening over the last few years, and so these are way we are moving towards. We are teaching deep skill. Later, I'll show you what it meant. Cultivate a culture for questioning and thinking, and basically very little of what Mr. Chen just said about the didactic learning. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So when we talk about the deep skill, this is what we meant. So children is not just a passive learner sitting there absorbing whatever teacher put into them, but rather we need them to be able to evaluate, be able to what you call articulate themselves, how to present their thoughts, how to find information, organizing the data, and things like that. So all these are very important skills that our children in this new generation, when they are learning, this is what they are doing. And so for that to happen, we somehow have to embrace technology. Okay. Right, so this is part where I will hand over to Madam Faisal, so on the one-to-one learning device. Okay.
Hi, hello parents. Thank you for joining us. For the P4 parents, I'm sure you have seen some of the information that I'm going to share with the P3 parents. This is for benefit for parents who are new to our school. Okay, we have new students transferring to our school. Yeah, so just a brief sharing on this one-to-one learning device in our school. All right, to start off, I would like to apologize to my P3 parents because of the delay in returning the iPads to the students this year. Okay, this is because we have a new ICT personnel who's actually enrolling the iPad into MDM, but I know that all the students who have actually handed over their iPads to us, we have returned them last week. Yeah, so parents, all right, for this one-to-one learning device program, this program has started since 2013 with only one pilot class. All right. However, I think this program have already evolved, and there are actually quite a lot of changes that we have gone through, right, to make this program more beneficial to our children. Yeah. So currently at P3 level, we have about 89% of our students enrolled to this program, which means that they actually have their own device, their own iPad. Or I know that there are some parents who actually ask their child to bring other devices, like Samsung Tab. And also we have like Xiaomi. Yeah. So but parents, it's okay as long as you think that this device, you want the child to allow them to bring, then you are fine with it. It's just that for iPad, we are only able to enroll the MDM, which is to manage the iPad. Okay, to MDM if the child has only Apple iPad. Yeah, so for other devices, we would actually require our parents' assistance to help us to push some of the applications for us. Yeah, so we believe that this program has already give us an idea that that is actually giving students better independence. Yeah, we also have some sharing by our students how they benefit our program. Yeah, so parents. Yeah. Okay, if you want to know more about this program, all right, we have this QR code for our parents to know more in detail how this program has evolved from 2013 all the way to this year. Yeah. So parents, I just want to talk about the MDM. All right, what is it about? Okay, I shared this last year with our P2 parents. It is more about how we can help to manage your child's device when they're in school. And at home, parents, you can also manage your child's device. We are going to have a session with our parents, a hands-on session whereby parents are able to join us, and then we are going to teach parents how they can actually limit the screen time, how they can actually limit some of the applications that you don't want your child to use in school and also at home. Yeah. All right. So like I mentioned just now, the school will determine the apps and programs that you want to be installed when they are using in school. Okay. We are also able to block some undesirable and unapproved websites. So we are able to control your child device from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. After that, it will be released to parents. So parents, when join us for the session, the hands-on sessions, right? We will actually brief you on how you can manage your child iPad after 4 p.m. onwards. Yeah. Okay, parents, I mentioned just now, we're going to have MDM workshop, but we're also going to have a town hall session on cyber awareness. It's also very important because I think some parents, we do have questions from parents, how to, you're able to manage your child device when you're not at home because you're working. How can you remotely control your child device, and how you can monitor the usage of your child's, of the technology. Yeah, so we hope that you can join us for these two shared sessions. I know that my P4s already joined us last year. However, if you want to have a recap on how to manage your child device, or you may have some concerns, or you may want to have questions, you can also raise it during the sessions. Yeah. Okay. Parents also welcome feedback from you. Because we do want to collaborate with you. We want the partnership in regards to the use of technology in school. I have parents who share the challenges they face at home. They also share with us what are the issues they face. They also share what are the some issues, like for example, the child face like for example troubleshooting, and then their parents are not able to help their child. So this kind of information, if you can share with us so that we can we can help you with that. We also don't want this kind of negative experience to impede our students' learning. Yeah, we do have feedback from parents. For example, I have a class whose parents actually monitor their child device and find out that, hey, my child and her peers actually use educational platform to communicate with one another. Then what she did was that the parent actually informed the form teacher, and by doing that, we managed to stop or prevent any anything that the child will do which is not right lah. Yeah. Okay, parents, beginning of the year, me and also Madam Masni, who's in charge of the program, also have already communicated to the children what are the do's and the don'ts when using the technology in school, right? We have gone through, they actually have gone through the policy with the students, so they are aware, okay, of what are the things that they cannot do in school, okay, when using the devices. So I hope that, parents, you also can help us, in monitoring your child usage at home, because we do not want it to contradict what the messages that we have already sent to the children in school. Yeah. So these are the following ways that I hope that parents or guardians can help us with. All right, like modeling good habits. Just Mr. Chen also mentioned about how we as parents, we can model good habits so that our children can follow us. Yeah, like for example, not using devices during meals. I know that at home, the devices can be used as as an entertainment for the children. However, sometimes the children will follow what we do, like we use handphone while eating. Yeah, because like I also understand that not only the children have iPad, but they also have they also have handphone with them. Yeah, so that's why sometimes my parents mention about the screen time. When we ask the children, they mention that, I'm not using iPad, but I'm using my handphone. Yeah, so when we talk about digital devices, it could also be the handphone. Yeah. So have conversation with your child about the safe and responsible use of technology. We have several awareness sessions in school, okay, during FTGP, where we talk about being a responsible user of the technology. So parents, you can also have a conversation with your child to find out their experiences in school. So probably when they share with you, you may find out certain things that actually sounds alerting. Maybe you will think that, hey, I need to alert the form teachers or the subject teachers regards to the use of technology in school. Yeah, because we mentioned to the child that when you're in school, it is used for learning, it's not used for entertainment. Because you know that sometimes, all right, the children use it to access YouTube, whereby they use it to for entertainment. Yeah. All right. So at home, parents, yeah, I mentioned just now when when we have already released the managing control to parents from 4 p.m. onwards, do set ground rules for the internet and also device use. For example, you can limit the time usage screen time when they are at home, yeah, and you'll be able to monitor it even though you're not at home. So like I mentioned during the MDM session, we're going to actually have a hands-on session whereby you can use your handphone, and then if you're at work, you can use your handphone to, all right, monitor the usage, what apps they are using, and then you're also able to, limit and also block, okay, if you find that they are not using the correct applications, yeah. So what about students who do not have their own device? I know I have questions from parents. Hey, I do not opt for this program, but my child is in a class whereby the rest also using using devices. So what happened to my child? All right. So there are 3 things that we are doing, right? So far, okay, the child may share with their friends, but the teachers will also loan the school devices. But this is based on availability, which means that because the school devices is meant for everybody, right? So if there's availability of the devices on the day that the teacher is using, the teacher would have booked it much earlier. But however, in MRT, the use of technology is very pervasive, and then and iPads, especially iPads, it's actually very hot. Many teachers are always loaning the device, so it's also based on availability. All right, if in case the teacher is not able to loan any of the devices, they'll be given hard copy assignment, or the child may have to complete the assignment at home. All right, like I mentioned just now, you can look at the QR code, go to the link, and then you'll find out more how these devices are being used in class. I'm sure some of you have already met, I think most of you have met the form teacher, and they already informed you about the routines and the structure that they have put in place for the class. Yeah? All right. Just to share with you some ICT structured program that we have for P3 and P4 level. All right. For P3, all right, we have Microsoft Excel. It will be conducted in term 3, and it's about 4.5 hours lesson. All right. What is this ICT structured about? Because we find that to give a head start for our children, all right, we need to have some basic ICT skills for our children. So at P3 and P4, we have Microsoft Excel for P3 and P4 video editing. All right, more information will be given to your child at the term once you're going to start the ICT structured program. Okay. Right, next we have this CCM, we call it Conversational Chinese Malay, okay, program. This program aims to strengthen Singapore's motivational compact and also equip students with, the respective languages which enable them to engage their counterparts in the region. I know that some parents ask, because P3 just started on this week, so parents ask, is it compulsory? All right, it is not really compulsory, but we strongly encourage. Yeah, because like, for example, our Chinese students will be learning Malay language, whereby our Malay students and our Tamil students will be learning Chinese language. Yeah, it's more about conversational. It's not writing, but more how to talk, how they communicate with their friends. Yeah, from other languages. Yeah. So for the lessons, you only have 5 lessons. It's 2 hours per week. Yeah. So it's from every Monday from 2:45 p.m. to 4:45 p.m. We do have feedback from parents. Says that, hey, on Monday my child has CCA and it ends about 2:40, and they do not have time. And then by 4:45 they may they are very tired, they are very hungry. So what we advise the student is that they can buy tidbits or they can bring some snacks. And then they can eat it during the break that the teacher has given them. Yeah. So no worries, parents, about that. Okay. For P3 and P4, we also have this SimSaver program. For your information, normally this SimSaver program is at P3 level. However, because of the past 2 years, you have this COVID situation. So we only managed to have our P4 doing the SimSaver this year. So in term 1, currently the P4s are having this SimSaver program, and they are done by groups. Okay, some groups will have done it much earlier, and some groups are going to do it later. Yeah, and then for the P3, we'll have more information given to parents. Okay, in term 2. Yeah, parents. Okay, I know this topic is very, very, your parents very excited about assessment, especially my P3 parents, because it's something new. If you have heard what Madam Yani has mentioned during her year session last year about assessment. There's no assessment. Okay, but for P3 this year, I'm sure parents are all very excited and anxious about assessment that's happening for P3 child. All right. Okay. For parents' information, there are three type of assessment. NWA is non-weighted assessment, WA is weighted assessment, and EOY is end of the year assessment. Okay, exam. So what does it mean by non-weighted assessment? That means that we have bite size or we have formative assessment, but it's not weighted. All right. So for WA weighted assessment and EOW, I will show you later our assessment plan, and we'll see we are weighting distribution. All right. So parents, just to highlight that assessment is more to support the students' learning, and also to gauge their progress, more for the teachers to understand where the child is and also address their learning gaps. Okay, it can be in form of pen and paper, written assessment, like class worksheet or topical review for the non-weighted, or may also be for weighted assessment. And then there are some subjects who have performance tasks. Later I will show you which subject will have that. Like what does performance task mean? It means about applying what they have learned in real situation, like journaling or the use of manipulatives. I think integrated task used to have this. Like I mentioned, it's combination of some assessment modes like reading and then plus conversation, the show and tell, and pick and talk. Okay, this is the P3 assessment rating. Okay, you can see the distribution. For example, for English language, for term 1, okay, the percentage is 15%, term 2, 15%, term 3, 15%, and term 4 is 55%. So you can see the distribution. Okay, like for example, for English, term 1, you only have listening comprehension, LC, which is weighted. However, like I mentioned just now, there are also non-weighted assessment in the different terms, okay, to assess the children learning. Okay, so for math, LWT task, okay, this 50% is actually for the whole year. Okay, mentioned that is the whole year. We put it in term 1 because in term 1, there will be the first LWT task that's going to be given to the child, and it's going to be 15. There will be a percentage is given to it Okay, so they also have partial paper in term 2, and then term 3 we have partial paper and performance task. Their parents do not worry for performance task. Okay, the teacher will actually inform the children what they'll be doing, and what they'll be assessed on Okay, for science, there's journaling, okay, and then there's also performance tasks, and when you say end of the paper, it's going to be the main full paper. Okay, for mother tongue, it's the same as the language paper English. We have listening comprehension, we have oral, we also have paper 1, which is a composition, okay, and end of the year, we have all the different components. Okay, we will add up to 55%. All right, parents? Okay, don't worry, parents. All this information will be given to you. All right. So I know that some parents may be like looking at taking picture, but do not worry. Okay. All this information will be given to you. Okay, and also available in our school website. Okay. So for P4 parents, it's a bit similar to the P3, just that like I mentioned just now. It may be like just now, like other papers may be partial paper, there'll be full paper. So when you mention that partial paper, it could be part of certain topics. Okay, it's not going to be a full paper. So it's the same as like the P3 just now, right? So 15% for term 1, term 2, 15%, term 3, 15%, term 4, like for English 55%. So it adds up to 100%. So for the science journaling and the LWT task, okay, all right, it's a bit different. Like LWT task could be the whole year, right? The 15% is going to be the whole year, and the learning science journaling, okay, it'll be about 15% for term 2 and term 3. All right. Okay, give some time for parents to see. So I think this is for the P3 before. This last part was about the assessment. So parents, I think it's okay, time if you have, I will check the chat, the Q&A to see if there's any questions, that I can, me or Mr. Lim, can answer you. All right, I think there's a question, but I think Mr. Andrew Yeo is answering the question. I think Mr. is answering the question for, okay, if my child is exempted from MTR, can he join CCM on Mondays? All right. Okay. I think this is answering, but I also can help to answer. All right. It's okay if your child has missed. No worries. Okay. I will. I can help your child to be enrolled, and I will inform the teacher in charge. Yeah. Yep. Okay. All right. Okay, there's questions about the P3. All right. The LC, like I mentioned just now, for term 1 is 15%. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So okay, I shall answer live for these questions with regards to the to play. Okay, in order for kids not to play the iPad during the break time. All right. Okay, parents, actually the children are not allowed to take out the iPad without the teacher's permission. All right, the iPads have to be in their bag, okay, until the teacher actually requests for it. Now, so during the break, all right, for example, during their lunchtime, they are supposed to keep the iPad in the bag, and the classroom will be locked. They are not supposed to bring it, for lunch or even for during HSP. Yeah. Unless for HSP, for example, the teacher mentioned that you can go to qubits, because I know that some students may use the qubits, to practice on their math concepts and all that. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. Any questions? All right. Okay, parents, no worries. Okay, for the MDM setup, you can always give me a call. You can call the general office, and the general office will send message to me. All right. I understand that some parents already request for a code to be able to manage the child's device. But do hold on for a while. Okay, let us enroll all the iPads first, and we're going to have a session with the parents. Okay, in later in February. Yeah, we get to the MDM setup. Yeah. I understand that some parents at last year, you do not want to be enrolled. However, you find that, hey, this year I want to be enrolled in the program. So what you can do is just hand us the device, and we'll just enroll your child in. Yep. Okay, with regards to the iPad discount rate currently. Hi parents. Okay, for parents who joined us last year for our session, and also actually I gave the parents, P2 parents, a link to a vendor that we actually recommend. However, okay, I understand that some parents may want to buy it outside, okay, because you also can purchase it through the Apple store. All right, for the vendor part, the vendor actually have the 9th generation plus the 10th generation iPad. And the prices are actually much cheaper, yeah, as compared to the outside lah. Yeah. So if you want to have the link, okay, you can actually request it from your form teacher, okay, because the form teacher may would have the link. If you want to, if possible, so you can send an email to me, and I will send you the vendor's link. Yeah. All right. I think there's also another suggestion. Which day to bring iPad to school, because iPad quite heavy. All right. Okay. Let me. We always ask the children to bring it every day, because a different subject will use it different days. All right. What we do is that, okay, we always tell the children to pack their bags, because I think that most of the teachers would have collected their activity books, would have collected some of the books for the children, and they are able to place it in the locker. For example, if that day they have art, what they can do is that they can keep their art things, which they always use every week, in the locker. Yeah. think we have some questions here being answered by, yeah. Okay, I have a question about how much the iPad from the vendor. Currently the vendor for the 9th generation, the price range is from 499. Yeah, I think there's a package. You may want to look at the package that the vendor has, and then you actually can choose different packages. So I can give you the link like I mentioned just now, and then yeah, then you can actually contact the vendor on this. Okay, yeah, I can place because sorry, the school website is for everybody to actually go to get information because this vendor information is only limited to our own current staff and also students. So it's I think if you need the information, okay, I will give it to you. Yeah, and also through the FTs. Yeah, can. Okay, maybe I will answer the last question. Okay, all right. I will just share my email address. Okay, the first slide. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. Yeah. Okay, this is my email address. If you wish to know more about, you can always email me. Yeah. Thank you, parents. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I think we have answered almost all questions. All right. Okay, so thank you, parents, for joining us. If you still do have any more questions, feel free to email me or Mr. Lin Yubing, and we'll answer to your queries. Yeah. Thank you, parents. Yeah. Okay, this last question. Will our child be streamed after P3? Okay, no. At P3, we'll have an en bloc promotion next year. Yeah. Okay, parents. Thank you, parents. Thank you for joining us.